Hi guys, welcome back. Hope you're ready to do some yoga. Today we are going to do a gentle flow, so a little bit slower, some not so intense movements and stretches, and hopefully it'll just give you some time to really notice what the body is feeling and saying. So, but first let's start with the breath. So go ahead and find a comfortable seat. We're going to use some blocks today if you have them. If you don't have a block, don't even worry about it. Just an option, but I like to sit on a block often. It helps to just lift those hips a little bit higher than those knees. It takes a lot of pressure off of that the lower back. So again, if you don't have a block, no worries. You can always use a pillow cushion if you're at home, or if you are seated on a chair, just kind of sit towards the front edge of whatever you're sitting on so it tilts those hips forward. But if not, the floor is just fine too. So as you find your seat, go ahead and turn that gaze downward. Eyes can be open or closed, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Even if those eyes are closed though, try to turn that internal gaze downward. Just softening those muscles around the eyes, through the face, through the jaw. And let's just take these first few moments here to check in. Maybe you take a brief mental scan of the body, just kind of noticing what might be speaking louder than others. Maybe the lower back or the hips or the shoulders, whatever it is you might notice. And whenever you notice a part of the body that you just feel stronger than others, try to stay there for a few breaths. Keeping your awareness there, keeping your focus there. And just take a few breaths there before moving on. And then today we're going to try to find our Ujjayi breath. So in order to find that, I know we've talked about that a few times here in this class. Excuse me, I might sneeze. Got spring allergies coming on. But in order to find that Ujjayi breath, go ahead and take a few breaths where you breathe in through the nose and then just slowly sigh it out through the mouth, creating that sound like you're going to fog up a mirror in front of you. So just give that a try. It should be an audible sound of that breath. So you might breathe in through the nose and then slowly out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's try once more like that. In through the nose. Nice and slow. Try to listen for the sound of your breath out through the mouth. And then let's try to continue to breathe the same way, but with our mouth closed. So in through the nose again. But try breathing out through the nose, but try to create that same sound. Well, the sound's going to change a little bit, but the same sound like you make when you're fogging up a mirror. In order to make that sound, you really need to make that breath intentional. You're breathing out on purpose. It's a little bit different than that natural breath. You almost have to press that air out through the back of your throat in order to feel it, in order to hear it. Let's try 3 more breaths here. In and out through the nose. And 2 more like that. That Ujjayi breath just helps to naturally calm the nervous system. Helps to slow down the heart rate. 1 more breath like that. And then feel free to come back to just your natural breathing. It's a great breath to use throughout a yoga practice, right? Especially when we get into more difficult postures or stretches. But it's also great to use just off the mat too, when you feel like your heart rate is rising, you feel stress, anxiety, whatever might be coming up, to find that Ujjayi breath. It's your body's natural way, first response to help calm things down and come back to the moment. All right, so let's get moving a little bit. So feel free to cross those legs the other way if they are crossed, or if you're seated differently, feel free to just stay there. A few more breaths here. We're going to find some movement with our arms. So as we inhale, let's go ahead and reach those arms just slowly all the way up until those palms, those fingertips touch. And then exhale, we're going to reach all the way out, back and down, till you feel the ground underneath those fingers. Again, inhale, deep breath in, reaching out to the sides as far as you can. A little bit slower than you might want to until you feel those hands connect. And then exhale, slowly reaching out, reach back behind you as well, and then down towards the floor. Once more like that, deep breath in, maybe bring awareness to those shoulders. As those arms rise, keeping those shoulders down, and then exhaling all the way out, back and down. I know I can really feel a difference in my shoulders when I slow things down there. One's definitely tighter than the other. Excuse me. Go ahead and take a few circles here through both shoulders. Just rolling them up towards those ears and then back and down. And then maybe try rolling them the opposite direction a few times, rolling them forward and down. Might not be quite as comfortable. And then last time, circling them up, back and down. Go ahead and just soften, relaxing those shoulders down the back. Let's sit up a little bit taller as we lift all through the crown of the head, and then dropping our right ear over towards that right shoulder. Lifting the chin up towards the ceiling. Just a pause right here as we, again, just notice where we might feel a stretch. And then using your breath to stay here. 3 more breaths. If you'd like to take a little deeper, you can always bring that right hand up to the side of the head. And just allowing the weight of your arm to gently take it a little further. We're not pressing on the head, we're just resting the hand there. And then next breath in, go ahead and let go of the hand, or release the hand. We'll bring the head back up to center. Maybe just pause right here for a moment, again softening those shoulders. Maybe you feel a difference between both sides of the neck. And then next breath out, let's try the other side, dropping left ear towards left shoulder. Again, lifting the chin up towards the ceiling. Maybe you stay right here, or maybe you bring the left hand to the side of the head. Again, just very gently resting the hand on the head. 3 breaths. Try to keep that focus on where you feel a sensation of a stretch and on the breath. And then when you're ready, bring your hand back to your leg. We'll inhale the head back up to center. So again, just inhale, sitting nice and tall, but this time on the exhale, we're going to bring that chin and that gaze down towards the left armpit. So just turning that gaze down, lifting through the back of the head as the chin drops down. And then let's keep the head at the same angle that it's at. We're just slowly going to lift the chin up. So we're still turned, almost like diagonally, the gaze. Just takes it a little more into the side of the neck here. And then go ahead and bring that gaze back to center, just nice and slow. And then let's exhale to the opposite side, dropping that gaze down to the right armpit. Dropping the chin, lifting from the back of the head up. And the next breath in, keeping that head at the same angle that it's at. We're just lifting the chin and dropping the back of the head. And then slowly back to center as you feel ready. Okay. Let's go ahead and uncross those legs if they are crossed. If you were seated on something, go ahead and move it off to the side. We'll just bring feet to the floor, about hip width apart. Knees pointing up. Just moving through a few seated cat and cow. So before we move, let's first find our base. So try to sit evenly on those sitting bones. See if you can feel the mat underneath those toes, underneath the heels. And then just a gentle, just gently resting those hands on the tops of those legs or those knees. So let's take a deep breath in here as we sit up as tall as we can, and then roll those shoulders down the back. Slightly turning that gaze up. So we're not letting our head fall back. We're just turning that gaze, keeping that neck in line with the spine. So we're doing a little upward bend through the upper back. And then next breath out, go ahead and round through the back. We're going to turn our gaze down, dropping the chin closer to the chest, drawing in through the belly. So a little C curve through the back. And then we can move with the breath. Each breath in, we lift forward, lifting up, but the shoulders are drawing back and down. And breath out as we round through the spine. Belly draws in, shoulders come forward. Let's take 4 breaths here as we inhale and rise. Exhaling round. Try to move those hips as well as you inhale, tilting them forward. Exhale as we tuck them in. And last time. Slowly coming back to center, finding that neutral spine once again, and then let's go ahead and swing those feet around to the back. Making our way forward onto all fours. And then we're just going to reach our hips back towards the heels, fingertips walking forward into an extended child's pose. So the forearms, the elbows, the head might be lifted off the floor, just so palms and our legs are connected to the floor. And just reaching forward as far as you can through those fingertips, but try to draw those shoulders back, down, away from those ears, as we reach the tailbone back as well. Next breath in, we're slowly going to come forward and up into a kneeling plank. Try to keep those hips lifted away from the mat, so we're not sinking down here. Try to keep them up, engaging that core. And then on our breath out, we'll bend those elbows and very, very slowly lower down to the chest and the belly. Inhaling, just rolling those shoulders down the back as we lift the chest off the floor. Exhaling, lowering down. Inhale, we're going to lift back up to those knees, and exhaling, hips reach back. 2 times moving with our breath here as we inhale, slowly find that plank. Shoulders come above the wrists. Exhale, elbows bend, try to lower chest and hips at the same time. Inhaling as we lift the chest, maybe a little higher if that's comfortable on your back. Exhaling as you lower. Inhale, lifting chest and hips at the same time if possible. And exhaling, hips reach back. Once more through that brief flow as we inhale forward to our plank. Exhaling as you lower. Inhale as we lift the heart, reaching it forward and up. Exhale back down. Inhaling up to those knees and exhaling back to that child's pose. Pausing right here for about 5 breaths, finding a spot for the forehead to rest on your mat or maybe on your hands. You can always come up to a high seat if that's more comfortable on the knees and the hips. Let's see if we can find our Ujjayi breath as we breathe in through the nose. And your choice to breathe out through the mouth or through the nose. Just making that breath a little more intentional. Slowing it down. And one more full breath here. As you're ready on that next inhale, extending those arms forward if they're not already there. Slowly begin to lift those hips just enough to tuck those toes. And then we'll reach those hips back once again. A little stretch to the bottom of those feet. And then next breath in, grounding down into those palms as we lift the hips up to our downward dog. You're always welcome to walk out those heels in your downward dog, especially that first one as we're just waking up the back of the legs and the arms. Maybe you shake that head no, nod it yes. Just releasing some of that unnecessary tightness that we hold onto in our neck and our shoulders. And then as we bring everything back to center, go ahead and relax the heels towards the floor. And let's inhale right leg, lifting it up. Doesn't have to be very high. And then exhale, lowering it down. Inhale, and the left leg's gonna lift. And exhale and lower. To get inhale, the right leg's gonna lift up, but this time on the exhale, let's bend the right knee, and we're gonna draw the right knee forward and step our foot towards our hands. So you can always reach back, help that ankle forward even more, or walk the hands back to meet up with the foot. But then go ahead and lower down to that left knee. So anytime we have this knee bent, we want it either behind or right above the ankle. Try to avoid having it go past the ankle. Now here, if you have blocks, great spot to use them. Again, if not, don't worry at all. You can totally do it without blocks. And I'll also show you an option to do this standing as well if this doesn't work for those knees or your hips. So in this kneeling lunge, we're going to first begin by just inhale, try to find some length through the spine. So the hands might come off the floor, they might be on the blocks. Either way is fine, just inhale and try to lift as tall as you can through the crown of the head. The left hip is reaching forward, the right hip is dropping down towards the floor. Just take one more full breath here. And then on the breath out, we're gonna just walk these hands back as we straighten this front leg. So if you have blocks, you can bring them back with you. So we're just gonna flex this front foot, straightening this front leg as much as we can. Those hips are still lifted. Again, maybe you're here, maybe you're here. And just folding at the hips, reaching the chest towards the foot. Now we're gonna move in between these two a few times with our breath. So on that next breath in, walking those hands forward, bending that front knee, and just inhale, lifting into this kneeling lunge. And then exhale as we round through the back, hinging at the hips, walking those hands back as we fold over that front leg. Inhaling forward, and exhaling back. We're gonna go 3 more times. You can also do this standing. Again, if it's not comfortable on the knee, you can inhale, bend that front knee up here, and then exhale, straighten the front leg, and fold over the leg. Okay, so there's always ways to modify. That's just up to you to listen to the body as to what it needs. Some days it needs different things than others. Sometimes we need to push ourselves, take it a little deeper, and some days we need to be a little more gentle and back off a little bit. All right, one more time through each. Inhaling as you come forward, and exhaling back. Let's pause right here as we come back. You can keep these hips lifted, or maybe you sit all the way back on your heel. Again, if you're standing, just pause, folding over that front leg. This front foot, try to flex the foot, lifting the toes up towards the ceiling. Inhaling as we rise through the torso, and then exhaling, we're just gonna fold over that front leg. Just as far as your body will allow you to go. 3 breaths as you inhale, try to reach the chest a little closer to the foot, and exhale as you fold. And then next breath in, we'll slowly lift those hips back up. We're gonna walk them forward, and we're gonna inhale and just rise into a high kneeling lunge. On our exhale, go ahead and lower right hand towards the floor. Let's keep our left arm lifted. As you breathe in, maybe try looking up at those left fingertips. And on the breath out, slowly reaching over towards the right side. The right hand's actively reaching down towards the floor. Nice little side stretch. And then go ahead and bring both hands all the way up. And then exhaling, hands to our heart center as we turn to the right side. Find a gentle twist through the spine as you turn towards the front knee. 3 breaths as we pause right here. You can keep the elbows lifted, or to deepen the twist, you can bring elbow to your knee. Try to soften those hips down towards the floor. Maybe find that Ujjayi breath. Or one more full breath here, listening for the sound of your breath. And then inhale, go ahead and slowly come back to center. And exhaling, hands come to the floor. Let's lift that back knee off the floor, creating space to step the front foot back. And again, maybe walk out those heels in your downward dog. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Maybe a long breath out through the mouth. And then go ahead and inhale. Let's come forward to our plank. Lowering down to both knees and exhale as we lower all the way down to the chest and the belly. And then we're going to slide these arms forward till we come onto our forearms and our elbows. Elbows underneath those shoulders. As we breathe in, reaching the chest forward. As we breathe out, lifting the low belly away from the floor. Next breath in, try to lift through the crown of the head. On the breath out, drawing those shoulders back. And then slowly go ahead and lower all the way down. Bring those hands back under our shoulders. Inhale as we lift up to our knees. Tucking the toes, reaching the hips back. And then inhale, lifting hips up, downward dog. Next breath in, left leg is going to lift as we reach it back and up. And then on the breath out, bending the left knee, drawing it forward, stepping that foot to the front. Lowering down to our right knee, just getting set for that kneeling lunge. Again, or you can do this standing with the front knee bent and back leg straight. And you can just fold at the hips and inhale, rise. But if you were on that back knee, just getting set up, make sure the knee stays right above the ankle when it's bent. As you breathe in, try to lift the torso. Try to create a nice long spine here. So lifting forward, lifting up, and then on the breath out, bending, hinging at those hips, walking the hands back as we flex the front foot and just gently fold over the leg. Slowly begin to move with your breath as you're ready. Inhaling as you come forward and up. Exhaling as you walk the hands back and down. Just finding your breath. Again, you can use those blocks if you have them. Inhaling as you rise. Exhaling as you come back. 2 more times. 1 movement per breath. And last time, as you inhale forward, and then exhale, go ahead and pause. The next time those hips come back, you can keep the hips lifted. You can be up high here, or you can sit the hips all the way back onto the heel. And then inhale, try to extend, create a little more space through the sides of the torso, and then exhale, gently folding over that front leg. Try to lead with the heart. So we're not rounding and collapsing through the torso. Stay nice and tall, just hinging at the hip. As you breathe in, we'll slowly begin to walk those hands forward. Go ahead and come back into that kneeling lunge. But this time we'll inhale and rise all the way up, bringing those arms with us. And exhale, let's lower left hand down towards the floor. Right hand's gonna stay lifted. You can stay right here, or you can inhale, maybe turn that gaze slightly up. And then exhale gently over toward the left side. Inhaling, both arms lift up. And then exhaling as our hands lower down through our heart center as we turn or twist to the left side towards that front knee. 3 breaths as we pause here. Try to find, engage that Ujjayi breath. Breath in. As you're ready, go ahead and come back to center. Lowering both hands to the floor. Lifting that right knee so we can step the left foot back. Downward dog. Feel free to walk out those heels, shake out those hips, whatever feels best here. Maybe take a nice full breath in through the mouth or in through the nose. And then out through the mouth. That gaze forward, go ahead and shift that weight forward to your plank, lowering down to those knees, and then sitting those hips back towards those heels, just having a seat. You can also just swing those feet around to the front if you would rather sit with those legs crossed in front of you. Or if you have a block, you can always bring the block under those hips as well. All right, as we come back to center, again, just try to sit nice and tall. Let's take a big shoulder roll down the back. Maybe bring those hands back behind the body, gently interlacing those fingers. And as we inhale, turning that gaze slightly up, so up towards that corner where the wall and the ceiling meet. And then exhale as we reach those hands down towards the floor, drawing those shoulders away from those ears. One more full breath here. And then exhaling, soften and relax. Go ahead and bring those hands back to the front. Okay, as we wrap things up here, as always, if you have a few extra minutes, please go ahead and just set a little timer on your phone, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Lay down on the back, close those eyes, and just take a brief Shavasana, where we just practice keeping that focus or bringing that focus back to your breath. Otherwise, we will finish up. So go ahead and find your breath first. And then finishing that next breath out. Then on an inhale, let's take a breath in through the nose. And out through the nose. And then a nice cleansing breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Thanks for joining me today for that gentle flow. I hope you remember to breathe throughout your day. Try that Ujjayi breath when you feel things start to get a little intense and see what happens. Namaste.